few more people in. Thanks so much for being so prompt and on time. I'm here with Corinne Thomas, who's going to be my co-presenter today.
Hi, everyone.
Cool, awesome. So while I'm just letting a few people in, please feel free to use the chat to say hi, introduce yourself, your organization, tell us a little bit about where you are or who you help. It's really useful for us to understand more about you because then we can sort of tailor the information to things that will be interesting for you. So please introduce yourself so we know who's here. You can also see on screen that I've said to have a chatbot ready. So this is optional, and if you can't do that, it's okay. But we are going to have a live exercise later. We're going to make today's session really practical. And so if you can have ChatGPT, Perplexity, your chatbot of choice open and ready, we will do a live prompting exercise that you can take part in. As I said, if you can't, if your organization maybe doesn't give you access, or if you're joining from your mobile phone or anything like that, don't worry, it's okay. We will talk you through it. But it will be better and more kind of interactive and fun if you can have that open. Awesome. Hi, Mary Jean. Thank you for using a chat. Anyone else, please feel free to introduce yourself in there. So I think we'll get started and then a few people join, I can let them in. Just to confirm that I will send the recording out afterwards. I will share the slides and the tools and the prompts that we're going to use in today's session. We will share all of that as well. So everything that we're going through today, we will make available for you afterwards. Okay, the chat's kicking off now. Hi, Jim from Lighthouse of Relief in Greece. We've got David, the Community Fundraising Area Manager for London's Air Ambulance. Awesome. Hi, David. And Amanda from Children's Hospice Southwest, based in Bristol. I am also in Bristol at the moment. Awesome. Thank you so much. And someone else based in Bristol. Hi, Rachel. All right, let me kick off with my slides. So just to give you a little bit of information about what we're going to do today, we're going to do very quick intros for myself and Corinne, and then we're going to go into the sort of practical part of the session. We're going to do a demo about how we can use AI to prepare for donor meetings. Then we're going to do that live prompt practice, that's hard to say, that I told you about earlier, where we're going to actually have a go at using more complex prompts and see the results that they can bring us when we give the chatbot more information. I'm going to do a demo of my platform, Pravi, and then we'll go through next steps and resources, and of course, make sure we have time to answer any of your questions. You can put questions in the chat anytime while we're talking, while we're presenting, or save them for the end. It's completely up to you. So let's keep going in the chat. Tell us a bit more about your experience with AI. So when it comes to AI, are you using AI tools? And this could be anything from ChatGPT to an AI note taker. Are you using AI daily, weekly, or occasionally, or not at all? Also fine. And how do you think of yourself when it comes to your experience with AI? Do you see yourself as a beginner level, more confident? Again, this is really helpful because as we go through the content that we have in today's session, we can tailor it a bit more to your experiences. Hi, Kate. Thanks so much for sharing in the chat. So yeah, let me know. Sorry, I just got a few more people joining. Jillian, I use AI daily and maybe I'm mid-level with experience. Awesome. Thanks so much, Jillian. If you have a favorite AI tool, also feel free to put that in the chat because we also love a tool recommendation as well. There's a lot out there, so we don't necessarily know everything. Awesome. Laura, I use AI daily in my personal professional life. I feel confident using it. Learn how it can help fundraising. Awesome, Laura. You're absolutely in the right place. Using it weekly, Rachel, mainly ChatGPT, and I've used Fathom and Perplexity. Excellent. Beyond beginner just. I like that. Amazing. Thanks so much, everyone. So I'm going to give you a little brief introduction, then I'm going to hand over to Corinne. So my name is Robin. If we haven't met before, I'm a co-founder of a platform called Pravi. Myself and Corinne have these QR codes on screen. So if you have a mobile phone, you can scan this with your camera and it will bring up all our contact details. You can connect to us on LinkedIn, reach out to us afterwards, ask us any questions. So I'm the co-founder of Pravi, which is a platform that helps small and medium-sized charities grow online and find new donors. And I am going to do a demo of the platform later. I'm really passionate about AI and data tools being available for charities of any size, not just large organizations who have big budgets, lots of donor data, and big technical teams. So please, if we haven't already connected, I would love to connect with you. So I'll hand over to Corinne.
Thank you, Robin. It's so lovely to see you and everyone joining today. It's fantastic. So I am the founder of Ethical Sales. We are a growth consultancy and training provider for values-driven organizations. So we provide a whole range of services from hands-on business development support to sales and AI training for our clients. They could be an employee-owned social enterprise, or a technology-led startup like Pravi that are bringing new products to market. I'm so excited about the potential of AI. I've been using it probably on the daily for about the last year, and I'm very surprised at the incredible growth that it has shown itself in terms of its ability to do things even in the last 6 months. Just to share a very brief real-world example with you, in terms of the fundraising context, I am helping my husband, who is about starting up a new mental health charity up here in the Scottish Highlands, and he hadn't used AI at all. And we, in the space of an hour, we had produced for him a list of 22 funders that they could approach for their organisation. Reassuringly, there was a good 50% of those that were already known to them and they had applied to, but there was a whole host of new opportunities, and they're currently actively writing grants to grant bids from that list. And the next thing that I'm going to help them to do is to build a custom GPT to help them write draft funding bids. So he said that, you know, his eyes were opened. It saved him a couple of days of research, just that hour that we spent. So I'm really, really excited about the possibilities of leveling the playing field for you guys using AI, because you're able to get your hands on exactly the same tools as very large charities, organizations, enterprise level businesses, and you're able to use it to improve your outputs, get new ideas, improve your skill level, and most importantly, save time so that you can continue to do the amazing work that you do and not get bogged down in the admin and the day-to-day minutiae of the tasks that we often have to do. AI is going to be taking all of that away from us. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm looking forward to showing you some of its potential and having a conversation about it.
Amazing. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're actually going to swap screen shares. So Corinne's going to take us through a live demo. And so we're going to quickly just have 1 second while we change this over, and then you're going to see Corinne's screen.
Thanks, everyone. So yeah, I was thinking about what I would like to demo for you guys today, because as you know, there's loads of really, really whizzy things you can do with AI. I could have replicated myself and had me chatting on the screen to you. We could have done some video, but what I actually wanted to show you was something really practical that you could take away and do tomorrow to improve your skill level, because I think that it's maybe a lesser known use case for AI tools that we can actually use it to improve our skills and obviously ethical sales. I'm talking about some of those basic fundamental business development and sales skills. So for those of you that don't know ChatGPT that well, what you can do in ChatGPT is obviously just have a normal conversation like I could do now, or you can use what's called a custom GPT that somebody or you have set up to support you. So there are loads of different custom GPTs that you can get your hands on now. Most of them are free, and you can even learn how to build one yourself. So I've actually built this one, Ethical Ellie. She's my blog writer. So that is all trained on ethical sales blog writing. But the one I wanted to show you today is one called Deal Daniela. So I'm just going to click on Deal Daniela. And what Deal Daniela will help us to do is help us to learn how to negotiate better. And I know for those of you that, you know, might be going and attending funder meetings, donor meetings, corporate partners, this is a really important skill to have. So what I'd like to do for you in the next few minutes is simulate this negotiation tool. I have done some preparation, but let's just click get started. I can show you what Deal Daniela does. So she's just asking me for my name. So hi, my name's Corinne. And she is going to say, lovely to meet you. I'm here to help you practice your negotiation skills. Are you ready to get started? Yes. So here's how this will work. We will begin with a short interview to understand your negotiation scenario, and I'll ask one question at a time to uncover what the scenario is, what you're selling, who's involved, what you're looking for, and then relationship dynamics. Once I've got that, I'll step into character as your negotiation counterpart, and then you'll negotiate with me in a realistic back and forth simulation. And at any time I can use these commands. So I can get a replay, I can become a different stakeholder by saying switch. I can escalate by raising the stakes. I can pause to get some live coaching, or I can walk away or close the deal. Do you understand how it works? Yes. So let's begin. Now I have actually prepared, just in the interest of time, some information for this Deal Daniela. So what I'm actually going to do is just copy and paste this. And the context for this relationship negotiation is that I am the lead fundraiser of an environmental charity, and we're running a UK-wide campaign to raise awareness of the top 7 most littered beaches in the UK. And I'm looking to get £50,000 from Deborah Meaden. Okay, so she's the person that I'm meeting with. And I've briefed Deal Daniela about this, and I'm trying to get £50,000 from Deborah Meaden to agree to help us sponsor this beach cleaning campaign, raising awareness. We want to reach 1 million people over the space of a couple of weeks. So I've put all that information in, and Deal Daniela said that's fine. So now we're starting the actual simulation. So Deborah Meaden enters the meeting room with a warm but measured tone. Hi Corinne, good to see you again. So this is our second meeting. Thanks for following up. I've had a brief look at your proposal. On the face of it, I like the ambition. Plastic pollution is an issue close to my heart, but £50,000 is not a small ask. So I'll be straight with you. If I'm going to back this, I need to understand what the return is in terms of impact and visibility. Okay, so why this beach project? Why you? Okay. So one of the nice things that I like about ChatGPT now is that you can speak to it rather than type. And I like to do my role plays. I like to speak to ChatGPT loads. So I'm just going to dictate, and I'm going to give her a little bit more information about what I'm looking for. So hi, Deborah. Thank you so much for taking the time to see us. We're really excited about having your involvement in this project. What we are looking to do is reach 1 million people over the space of 2 weeks in August. And we are looking to convert 1 in 3 of those into long-term behaviour change, so that they focus more on how they treat the beach, how they treat local wildlife, taking their rubbish home with them. In terms of visibility, we are running a multifaceted, multi-channel campaign, both online and offline, in terms of posters around the beaches. And we're going to be engaging a 300 strong volunteer community with our partner Surfers Against Sewage to have a presence on these beaches for the 2-week period. Right, so I've just told that to Deborah and see what she says. Okay, that's a compelling ambition. I can see the potential public value here, and your 1 in 3 behaviour change target is impressive. But let me push on a few things. Visibility, you mentioned posters and volunteers. That's great, but I need to understand how I would feature. And then accountability, how are you measuring that? And why me? Okay. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask for some help. So I'm going to use the pause command and see what it comes up with. So I'm doing well. I've opened warmly and confidently. I've focused on impact, and I've talked about scale and structure. But strategic coaching is that I need to look at what's in it for her. Visibility, tangible benefits, and accountability. Okay. this is a prime chance to flatter her with purpose. Okay. She's a known advocate. Her voice commands public trust. Okay, let's try this. I'm just going to go back here to look at some of these notes. Thanks, Deborah. Absolutely. We really want your involvement because we feel that you're a very visible, high-profile environmental campaigner. And we're looking for some hard-hitting results with this campaign. We're actually partnering with the University of Sussex to do the data collection and analyse the behaviour change campaign that we've come up with. We would really like to work with you and your team to come up with a really clever hook for this challenge and involve you in the creation of the branding of it. And we are going to be employing a range of different surveys and methodologies as part of the Beach Clean surveys that we do with the volunteers. Okay. So, let's see what she says. Waffling a bit there. It's hard to do this when you're put on the spot. So she's pleased that University of Sussex are on board, but she wants to see what the surveys look like and what do I walk away with if I put down the 50k. Okay. So, Deborah, absolutely. We would like you to be front and centre within the campaign. What we've actually done is spoken with our partner, volunteer partner, Surfers Against Sewage, and we're doing a big launch day at Brighton Beach, which is one of the most visible locations. And we'd like you to be involved in that launch day and host it as the lead sponsor. So we think that this will be a really good link to your environmental vision. Right. Okay. So she likes that idea. Being at the launch, that's tangible, a public visible state, but here's my concern, and I have to be ruthless with my time. Why now? Why is this campaign urgent, and what's at the risk if I walk away? Okay. Absolutely, Deborah. So we've done our research and we found that pollution on these 7 most polluted visited beaches is getting worse and worse year on year. So we want to stage an intervention now so it doesn't get any better. So it gets better. We want to engage the public in campaigning for better beaches, which is why we're working with Surfers Against Sewage. And this will become a yearly event with your support. Essentially, Deborah, you could look at this as seed funding. This is the first year we will have worked to launch the campaign, but after that, it will grow legs of its own. We're looking to build in more corporate partnerships, and we aim to reach 5 to 10 million people by the end of the next 3 years. In terms of timings, we've got less than 3 months until the launch day. So what I'm looking for today, Deborah, is for you to agree verbally to get involved, and so that we can get the wheels turning as soon as possible. Right. I'm going for the close there, and we'll see what it says. We'll probably have to wrap up because I'm conscious of time, but okay, that was well put. You've convinced me of the urgency, and I like the way you frame this as seed funding, something scalable. So I verbally commit on 2 conditions. I get final approval of when and where my name is used, and I've got a 1-page summary. Perfect. Okay, sounds great. There we go. This is a deal, right? Okay, you've closed the deal, right? So this is the really good bit as well. So when you've done the simulation, it will give you feedback. So this is telling me that I stayed calm under pressure, I had a clear value prop, looked at some of the urgency that I brought in, and then where I could have strengthened, and one technique to practice around benefit framing. And that's fantastic. So I hope that that's just given you a whistle-stop tour of how you can use a tool to improve your skills. Robin, what do you think of that?
No, that was awesome. And I was just thinking about all the other ways that you could use this type of role play for like different types of scenarios as well. So, for example, like if you had a job interview, if you had to meet a panel about, for example, like grant funding, there's so many scenarios where you might want to run through and practice something ahead of time to kind of get feedback and feel a bit more confident, like public speaking if you're presenting at a conference.
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless, basically, aren't they? Yeah.
That's so cool. And I love the like specific feedback as well.
Yes.
So I'm going to share my screen again. I'll hand over to you for this slide, Corinne.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'd like to get us in the nitty-gritty a little bit and get you guys doing some live practice, because you don't just want to see us demoing for the whole hour. And what I've put together is a prompt document for you, and just explain a little bit about why prompts are useful. So basically, when you're communicating with a chatbot at the moment, whether that's ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, any of the ones that you normally use, we need to understand that it needs specific instructions to get what you need from it. And if you don't give it those instructions, then it will hallucinate, it will make things up, and it won't be of value to you because it will not be specific and targeted to you and your organization and your scenario. So the more detailed those instructions are and the more context we can give it, the better. And I'm sure you've all practiced it and given it a one-word instruction and been disappointed with the results, and that's probably why. So what I wanted to start helping you to build is a bit of a library of prompts. And once you get a few of them, then you can actually create them yourself and you can adapt them as you go along. So it's really useful to start doing that as part of your own AI skills development. So I've put together a few different prompts and things for you to try. And the first one we will actually do together in a second. So I'm just going to share the document with you, and I think Robin is going to, while I do that, Robin is going to stick the document in the chat so that you can open it. And I'm going to go back, yeah, to this document, but it's not, it's that prompt framework. So hopefully you can all see this: prompt frameworks and AI tools for charities. So I'm just going to talk you briefly through prompt one, and then we will do it together. And Robin is going to do it live while you guys have a go as well. So what I'm trying to get this first prompt to do is to give us an overview of a prospect or donor or corporate partner or funder that you are about to meet with. So they're really, really good now at doing online research, most of these LLMs. And so we're kind of using that web search function to help us, rather than spend, half an hour to an hour typing in different web pages and trying to copy and paste into a Word doc. So the objective of this prompt is that you're a fundraising consultant and you specialize in donor research and analytics. I want you to generate an evidence-based donor dossier on. So for this prompt, you're going to need to think about who you want to research. This could be a public figure, a celebrity, a known business figure that you're trying to connect with at the moment, somebody that you're about to meet with. You decide. And then this is going to help the fundraising team to decide how best to cultivate the relationship. And then you need to give it a little bit of context. So tell it a bit about your organization and your sector, the type of donor that you're approaching, and maybe the gift or the target figure that you're looking to raise from them. The rest of the prompt is for the LLM. So its instructions are what we want them to do. We want them to return a concise report, including this information. We want them to have this certain style and tone. And we want to make sure that it audits itself so it doesn't hallucinate. It provides us with reputable links, and anything that it finds that's really old online, it flags as archive. So I think it might be worth just jumping into that exercise now. Robin, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. I've got it open on my screen, so let me share again.
Okay, I just
Uh,
now is everyone okay with the prompt, or do you want me to copy and paste it into the chat? I'll do that while you chat. chat it through, Robin.
Yeah, and there's actually a really good question here in the chat from Jackie, which is, can you use this prompt to find people who would be favorable to our cause? So a step before this.
Okay, okay. Um, I think that it would require a slightly different prompt, but you can definitely do that. So you might want to reword it slightly by saying, you know, this is the organization that we are, and this is the type of funded projects that we've got. Can you then find public figures or high profile people within maybe a certain geographical area, excuse me, who would be aligned with those causes? And I think you probably would get some half decent suggestions. And a context and detail in that prompt would be key. So giving it as much information as possible and being as targeted as possible with your ask, I think is really helpful in those situations.
Yeah, definitely. I think the other like great thing about this is that it's searching publicly available information. So we know that sometimes like there's some with AI, like where is the information coming from? But we're actually just looking for people, what's online about this person? What can we find? We're just doing it a lot quicker. So what I've done, on screen right now is the prompt that Corinne has just shared with you. I copy and pasted this into my own doc to give you an example, and I prepared this ahead of time so you don't have to watch me typing because that's always super embarrassing and I always make loads of typos. So I've already filled this in. But you can see I've basically just followed the exact same prompt as Corinne, but just put in the details, and this is completely made up. When I do demos, I always use a made up charity called Save the Trees. And I just do that because everyone can understand what that charity does and what that's about, and I don't have to give it too much background. So I've copied exactly Corinne's prompt, and we will send you all this prompt afterwards as well, so you can do exactly the same thing here. And I've just personalized it. So you can see that I've put that I want to create a donor dossier on Helen Mirren. Just again, trying to find someone who is familiar to everyone. This could be anyone with a public profile. I've put in some details about my charity. So Save the Trees, I'm an environmental conservation charity. Donor I'm looking for is celebrity. I've given it a target and a time frame. And then everything else here, I think the only other thing I personalized is I put that I wanted the figures in pounds because I'm in the UK. But everything else, as Corinne said, is just the prompt for the LLM. So although it looks like a bit overwhelming and like there's loads of text here, most of it is for the chatbot, not for me to have to deal with. So what I'm going to do is just literally copy all of this, and I'm going to go and put this into Perplexity. Corinne, did you want to explain a bit about Perplexity before I?
Yeah, I really like Perplexity for online research in particular. It seems to have marketed itself as a front runner for that. You don't necessarily need a pro account. I can see you've got one, Robin, but I've never actually bought the pro for
I do have
Perplexity.
a hot tip on that. So I have the Pro account for free because I'm an O2 customer. So if you are O2 and you have an O2 mobile phone number, you can use their rewards program to get a year for free. So yeah, that's why I have the Pro account.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, brilliant. But yeah, Perplexity is really good at crawling the web basically and using it to produce really helpful, detailed information from lots of web-based research. So when I was doing the fundraising search for with my husband, we did it in Perplexity. And actually, Perplexity generated better results than ChatGPT, although ChatGPT does have this function. I'm just not sure it's quite as strong yet. So I would say for any web-based research you're trying to do, where you know there's publicly available information, but you just need it to be consolidated, then Perplexity is probably your go-to.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I go to Perplexity now instead of Google
Yeah.
when I'm trying to find any information. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste that whole prompt that I've had on the other document into the chatbot. If you're familiar with ChatGPT and not Perplexity, it basically is very similar. You've got the text box where you put your prompts and it starts a conversation with you. So this will be familiar to you anyway. So it will tell you what it's doing, which I like. So you can see what websites it's looking at. So that means you can double check that it's getting information from sources that you want it to. So at the top here, where you can see it's telling me the websites that it's looked at to get this information. So this might be important if you were doing, for example, research and you want to check that the information is being pulled from a reputable source that you want to include. And you can obviously always tell Perplexity to look at certain websites if you wanted to. But yeah, so I guess we'll scroll down. So you can see that basically it's created this dossier for me about Helen Mirren, and it's split this up in like a really nice way. The numbers that you're seeing here, these will link to the website where it's got the information from. So these are like references. So if you wanted to check anything in specific, like for example, a statistic or something, you can just click on the number and it will open up the web page where it's pulled the information from. But if I just scroll down, it's started here with a snapshot. To me, just the speed that it can do this is the craziest thing about it. It's not that we can't do this as humans, which obviously we can, but like the speed that it can put this information together is just kind of insane. So top philanthropic themes. So because I'm an environmental conservation charity, it's pulled out how Helen Mirren is linked to these cause types. So that she has been a voice for Greenpeace's Turtle Journey anti-pollution campaign. It talks about her environmental activism. And so obviously I can click through to these links and learn more about it if I think, oh, this is particularly relevant, I need more information, or I can ask Perplexity for more information. On more of the, I guess, the donor front, it's giving me the professional and wealth indicators, which is useful. Her personal interests and hobbies. So this is about, when you're meeting with someone, how can you understand this person and talk to them in a way that you connect with them? So how can you understand before a meeting or before you reach out via email, the person that you're talking to, what's important to them, what do they like, what is going to make their connection to your organization feel really natural and meaningful. It's also giving me this recent public activity. So some of it might be relevant to my campaign and some not, but it gives me this color. It's given me engagement hooks, which is really interesting. So this is specifically how I could engage her based on the activities of my organization. If I go down, I've also got risks and red flags. So I think that's a really important addition as well. So you may want to know if there's been any controversy about this person in the news, for example, that you may want to be aware of before you even approach them. Like there might be something that you're not aware of that maybe doesn't align with your organization's values. And then it's also giving me, it's also giving me the sources here. So it's giving me a list of links that it's pulled this information from. If I scroll down, Perplexity will give me suggested follow-up questions. So same as ChatGPT, like you're in a chat here. But I can click on these and that will prompt the next question and it will look for more information. I can also just ask a follow-up question. So if I don't quite get what I need here, I want more information, I can keep the conversation going. Corinne, is there anything on this sort of output that you wanted to flag and like raise and sort of bring people's attention to?
No, I mean, I think it looks great. And just a quick tip, that rather than just copy and paste directly from the chat flow, if you use the three dots at the top, you should be able to download it as a PDF file.
Is it this one?
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe it's the flag export. Yeah, maybe it's the export function.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go.
So you can export it as a PDF, and that's really helpful because then that's a document that you can attach to your CRM, or in the second prompt that I've provided for you is to write an email, a highly personalized email to a prospective donor. So this would probably be your first task, would be to create one of these reports, and then you can attach that as part of the email creation prompt. So it's always really helpful to have lots of information when you're asking an LLM to do something for you. So I would definitely be using it for, or if we were having a second meeting with Helen Mirren and we were doing the negotiation role play, then we could have attached it in there as well.
Mm, that's nice. I haven't actually done this before, creating the PDF, but it looks super professional, and I can see these are all hyperlinked still,
Yes.
so I can still open the sources. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we're always learning. I didn't know we could do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Okay,
I'd
perfect.
love to know how people have got on with that. I haven't, the chat's gone a bit quiet. I think everyone's beavering away. But if you can feedback and let us know how you found it, that would be really helpful. Hopefully the prompt has done what we wanted it to, but there's always room for tweaks normally.
I think this is a really good prompt and just shows that the more information you put in, the better the output will be as well. And sometimes it's like, how do we even think about all the information we should include? Which is why the prompt libraries are really important. And like David says, mind blown. So that's good.
Okay.
So yeah, I think how really see like the best thing you can do with a prompt library is to have something that's shared in your organization. So if this is obviously on the caveat that you are allowed to use these tools in your organization, this has been talked about. So, but if that's the case and you're using things like ChatGPT or Perplexity, Copilot, Gemini, having a prompt library that's shared with all staff or all volunteers, and then you don't have to start from scratch every time. So when you have a prompt, you can have like Corinne has in her prompt here with like the blanks that people can fill in, but it just means that everyone gets to share what's working with these LLMs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let's see. We've got some stuff going on in the chat here. Um,
Why we used Helen Mirren? That was your idea, Robin, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my idea. I was trying to think of someone that everyone would know. Well, that's probably quite UK centric of me, but it was the first person that popped in my head.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
Robin. What are we? Why use any famous person? If you're, I guess in this particular case, what you're looking, it's because you're doing research before having a meeting with that person. Is that the
Yeah,
context? Yeah,
yeah, that's right. And it doesn't have to be a famous person. So it could be before any meeting. So let's say that anyone who's got like a public profile and they've got like online, there's information about them. You could be preparing for a meeting. You could be preparing to contact someone to be part of something in your organization. Perhaps a corporate partnership. You could do this exercise with the CEO or the chair of the board. Any kind of time that you need background, I guess, on someone. And this would also, you'd have to tweak the prompt, but like it would
yeah,
work
yeah.
for organizations like corporates as well, finding out more about an institution or something like that.
yeah.
Sure, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Um, cool. Just
Yeah, I
scrolling
think that's a
down.
different, yeah, use cases. Someone used a local business, someone looked at somebody high up in a large trust. So yeah, there's lots of different
Amazing.
using that prompt.
Love that. Okay, and as I said, I will send this doc afterwards as well on the email when I send out the recording. So we've got like 20 minutes left. Corinne, did you want to do a quick, the second part? Do you think we have time or did you want to?
I think let's move on and then we can always come back to that if we
Okay, cool.
have a bit of time.
So the second part, this prompt is still in that doc though, isn't it? So
Yes.
people can still
Yeah.
access this. Yeah. So in the second part of the document that you've been in to do the first prompt, there's a second prompt around building the brand brief for your own organization. That's right, isn't it, Corinne?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can use that in exactly the same way as we demoed for the first prompt. You can fill out your information. You can use it in different ways. So I'm going to change tack slightly, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about Pravi, which is my platform that I've co-founded. So Pravi is a new platform. I'm going to show you a demo. It's a quick 4-minute demo, and this is literally something that we released last week. So it's very, very new. We've had 36 charities test Pravi so far. And really, why Pravi exists. So I used to work in the charity sector. I became really obsessed with AI. And then when I was talking to charities, I saw this gap. So if you're a large organization, if you're a Greenpeace or if you're a Red Cross, and you already have hundreds of thousands of donors, there are loads of fundraising optimization tools that can help you reach more people, know who to target for your next campaign, know who's likely to give or not give. But these only work if you already have lots of donors. And the majority of charities in the UK don't have lots of donors, don't have a big budget, and don't have lots of staff and resources, specifically in like a technical way. So myself and my co-founder kind of set out to build Pravi as a platform that helps charities reach new people online and then eventually find new donors. And we chose this area because we heard from lots of smaller organizations that they're very reliant on grants, trusts, and foundations, but that money is always ring-fenced for certain projects and programs. And what they want is the unrestricted funding and support that comes from individual donors. But that is very difficult, time-consuming, expensive. Where to start? So that's the problem that we're solving with Pravi. You don't need a donor list, a CRM, or any data skills to use Pravi. As I said, we're very much in the early stages, but it is available and it exists in the world, which is very exciting to me as someone who has been planning and researching it for the last year. I'm just going to show you exactly what it looks like. And I've done this on purpose. I've made this super quick, so we can always follow up if you're interested in learning more. But this is Pravi. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it to create a campaign. I can decide whether to run an emergency appeal, promote a fundraising campaign, an event, or a brand awareness campaign. I can tell Pravi how much I'm trying to raise, and then I can tell it more about my campaign. So this is kind of like the prompting that we've seen in the other demos. So here, just as an example, let me just quickly pause this. As I said before, my made-up charity is called Save the Trees. My goal is to raise £1,000 and plant 100 trees for a campaign that's called Plant a Tree for the Future. So I give Pravi this information, and we've really created Pravi for that fundraiser who does everything. So the fundraiser that's applying for grants, the fundraiser that's updating all the social media accounts, the fundraiser that's organizing events. Pravi is powered by anonymous data. So we have got, we bought as part of our research and development, a huge data set of anonymous transaction records. And this data is usually used by banks and hedge funds and insurance companies to see how people spend their money. We've decided to use it for a different cause. We've decided to look at it and see when people donate to charity, how much do they donate, how often do they donate, and what type of person donates to different types of causes. So everything we do in Pravi is completely anonymous, GDPR compliant, no personal details, no phone numbers, no names and addresses, anything like that. Oops, sorry, I'm also multitasking, letting someone into the waiting room, sorry. So what you can do with Pravi is you can decide the type of donor you're looking for. So most likely to offer a large donation or most likely to convert to a new donor. And it will create a donor persona for you, or a profile of the type of person who we see in our data is most likely to donate to your type of charity. So I've chosen, in my Pravi account, I'm set up as an environmental conservation charity. When you set up, you will choose the type of cause that you are. So it could be cancer, it could be aged care. Pravi looks at its data and says, from what we have in our platform, this is the type of person who's most likely to donate to an environmental charity. This is where they hang out online. This is the predicted donation amount. This is the average number of donations this person donates every year. And then we give you the data behind that prediction. So it's really important for me that people can see where this information is coming from. And it's not like AI magic. It's just looking at data. So you can also create your own donor personas in Pravi if you want to, if you don't want to go with Pravi's best match. But I'm going to go with the best match today. From here, Pravi will tell you the type of the recommended platforms where you can reach this person online, because obviously different demographics use different platforms, but you don't have to take Pravi's recommendation. I have Pravi linked to my Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn accounts, but we have connections to TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever you want. So you connect your accounts, and then you tell Pravi how many social media posts you wanted to create. And this is based on that information I gave at the beginning. So that appeal where I want to do a tree planting event, where I want to raise £1,000. So what Pravi is doing here is it's taking information that you've given it about your organization, information about your appeal. It's taking information about those donors that you're trying to reach. It's the language that it uses to appeal, in my case, to a younger demographic. And then it's creating social media posts for me to promote my appeal. Now from here, you can do all sorts of different editing. So we don't, we always recommend you want to proofread anything that AI creates and you want to add that human touch. So you can absolutely add your own images. You can generate an AI image. You can edit this. You can add links. You could put a bit of this in your own words. If you see this as a tool to help people get going with social media quicker and also have that strategy about who they're trying to reach on what platforms. But let's say, for example, I've proofread all this and I'm really happy I've added my organization's kind of personal touch here. I can then schedule everything in Pravi. So these are my LinkedIn posts. I choose the date that I want these to go out, and I can do this across different platforms as well. The time that I want it to go out, and I can choose how often I would like to post. So this might be for a campaign, for an appeal, I might want to post every other day for like 3 weeks. So you can do that. Once the posts are created, they will schedule and these will go out on your social media accounts. And you'll have a calendar here where you can see those posts, see where they're scheduled, change things if you need to. One more feature I will show you in Pravi because I'm just conscious of time. I really like this feature, which is a quick post feature. So say you don't want to create a whole campaign. You just want to do some social media posts. I've got 100 million other things to do. You can give information to Pravi via text, URL, or PDF, and it will create social media posts for you based on that information. So here I have a news article about tree planting from the University of Exeter. Now, more than likely, if you use Pravi, you'll probably put a URL from your own website, but I don't have a URL for Save the Trees. And so I've found a news article that's relevant to my organization. I upload this to Pravi, exactly the same as before. I can choose the platforms that I want to create posts for. I can choose how many posts I want. This takes a little bit longer because it's reading all that information. But once it's read the URL, the web page, it will create posts with that information included, but it will also keep the information it has about my organization in mind as well. So it's still going to talk about Save the Trees. It still knows what my mission is. It still knows what my goals are, but it's feeding in that information from the URL as well. So if, for example, you had an event and you had a URL that you wanted to promote, you could put like the URL for your sponsored skydive into Pravi and it will bring the two together. But everything else works exactly the same as earlier in the demo. Where we're going to go with Pravi next is this is how to build your charity online, reach more people, find new people who want to support your cause. We're still building and developing tools all the time. And so next on our sort of agenda is, okay, once we've got people's attention on social media, so what? How can we engage people? How can we bring them in our community and convert them into becoming donors? And that's where we're sort of going. We want to be one platform where you can do all of this on. As I say, we're very early stage and it's a very exciting time to try Pravi. So to that end, very quickly, if you're interested in anything that I've shared about Pravi, we do run 28-day free trials. We can do everything I showed you on the platform and more. After the free trial, Pravi costs £20 a month. So we've tried to make it as economical as possible for smaller organizations. Our next free trial, so I do the free trials in blocks. You can obviously sign up at any time. But I find we get the best results when I run webinars where I can take you through all of the functionality. And so the next one we're running is on the 14th of August. So if you sign up before then, you'll be able to join those webinars. Thanks so much. I'm going to hand over to Corinne now to talk a little bit about another exciting offer.
Thanks, Robin. So good. We love Pravi. We've been working with them for a few months to help get their sort of sales function set up and running, and I'm really impressed with the progress. I haven't seen a demo for like, I don't know, a few weeks, and I'm really impressed with the progress that you've made on the tool. And I really love the idea that you're encouraging we're thinking about fundraising in a kind of strategic and targeted way, because that's what I would always advise my clients to do, coming from any sector or background. And so trying to speak directly to that person who is going to be more engaged with what you're offering is a really good move. And I guess, yeah, you could apply that as well to, different funders or corporate partners that you want to engage and that sort of thing. So yeah, I love it. Okay. Yeah, so just briefly, I think today was really just designed to give you a bit of a flavour of what AI can do and the different use cases in fundraising, but I mean, we've barely scratched the surface, as you've seen. So if you feel that you could do with a bit of a hand in terms of where is your organization, where are you on your journey with AI, what should you do next, then I'm very happy to help you. I'm currently doing some AI readiness assessments, which is about an hour, I think, an hour Zoom call, usually is the best. And then I'll put together a report and give you some recommendations about what to do next. And then from September, we'll be launching our training services as well. So we can keep in touch about that. But yeah, drop me a line if you're interested in having any more help or AI support for your organization. I'd be delighted to help and help you all grow faster and reach the communities and the people that you need to.
Awesome. So I'll pop our QR codes back up just quickly. But also we've still got time for any questions. So feel free to put those in the chat. I can see I've got one question here from Rachel. So I'll answer this question, but if you have more, please, and also you can come off mute if you want to talk to us, that's also fine. So Rachel has asked me in the chat the typical level of funding that users of Pravi ask for in their campaigns, and if it's applicable to medium and large asks. So that's really interesting, Rachel. So when we first built Pravi, we really were focusing on regular individual donors. So that tends to be a smaller amount. So the £10, the £20 a month, because that's what we sort of saw as a missing link for a lot of smaller organizations. So how can I get this regular, sustainable funding where people feel connected to my organization? But from feedback that we've had from the last 3 months, we've also heard that the idea of creating content and strategies for major donors is also very appealing for people, which I obviously completely understand. And so we've set it up so that when you're creating your campaign, you have those two options to choose from. So you can choose to create a campaign that's more targeted to small regular gifts, or you can choose more likely to give a higher gift. And so that will look in the data for the type of person who's more likely to give a bigger gift and help you create content more targeted to that person. So you can definitely do either. And like people have used it for both, but we definitely hear and like we're going to bear in mind, I guess, for the future of the features we release, that being able to find larger asks, find people who with a more propensity to give a higher amount is obviously very important to people.
I mean, to add to that, I was kind of thinking, there are often charities who say, right, we're raising 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 for this particular project. So I guess in principle, it would be relevant to that as well. And that could be anything from £5 to 500 quid or 5,000 that people give.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's no reason that you need to any sort of amount in that context. It would work the same. Yeah, definitely. I can see Jim. Do you have a feel of how many small NGOs or charities are using AI? Can I remember any facts and figures? Probably not. But there was a really good digital readiness report that came out. I can send this to you, Jim, from Charity Digital, I think last week. And I think that the stats they were saying was it's around sort of 70%. But like the gap that they saw was that most organizations don't have policies, procedures, or training. So it's very much a few people kind of going off and being really excited by this. And also there was a gap between how many people were using AI versus the perceived skill level of either the CEO, executive director, or board of trustees. So a lot of people rated their board of trustees or their ED's skill level as being like low, which kind of doesn't but they're still using it. So it's like an interesting mix, I think, between sort of people on the ground who are probably using it and then not seeing that kind of leadership from people like at the top of their organization. It's a really good study. If I just hand over to Karin for your thoughts, I might be able to find a link for it quickly.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo Robin's findings, and also I've been doing my own investigations into this and backed up by online research. So between 10 and 15% of SMEs are getting AI training. So that's a very, very small proportion. So whilst organizations are using it, they are not training their people in how to use it correctly or properly. They don't have policies, they don't have strategies. And I think that's where the gap we're seeing at the moment. And you've got a different level of adoption depending on the confidence and the skills within those people in the organization. So I spoke to a global sales enablement director of a massive organization, and even he said, look, we've got a third of our sales team that are using it, that are really confident, a third that are kind of growing those skills, and a third that aren't touching it. And that's probably where you're going to see in your organization, you're going to have some people that will embrace it without too much trouble, but you're going to have quite a lot of people that might need a bit more coaching, support, persuasion, advice and guidance before they feel like they can really make the most of it. So I think that's where we are. And that's the work that we all need to do in the next, hopefully now, but in the next couple of years, is really get people up to speed with how to integrate AI usage into their daily workflows, because that's where we're going to see the most impact. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
No worries. I've put the link to the charity digital skills report in the chat. I really recommend that, like, to everyone. So literally, I think it was only released last week, so it's really up to date. And they do split the data between large organizations and small organizations, so you can see trends for small organizations not just being dominated, I guess, by large organizations as well. So I really recommend checking that out. I think I've caught up in the chat and we don't have any other questions. I'll stop sharing my screen. So, thank you so much for joining us. As I said, I will send out the recording. I hope this was really useful and sort of practical. But I really appreciate you all being here. I will reach out afterwards with the recording and the slides and all the links. Corinne, was there anything you wanted to say before we say goodbye?
No, I suppose just briefly, it's hard to do a whistle-stop tour of AI in just 1 hour, but I think what we've tried to do today is kind of show the different use cases, show its potential, and get you guys thinking. So if there's one bit of advice I'd give all of you now, is just to take 2 minutes just to scribble down what is one thing that you're going to do tomorrow and get AI to help you to do it faster, because there's nothing like practicing and just being that human in the loop with AI and sort of building up your confidence. That's I would just encourage everyone to experiment and to learn, because that's what we're all doing, isn't it, Robin? I mean, we're all moving so fast and so quickly.
Yeah.
That's what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've learned that Perplexity can make PDFs today, so that's exciting. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. Hope to see you at a future webinar. And as I say, I will send you all out an email tomorrow with the recording. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Robin. Bye.
Bye. Bye.